Hi everyone, this is Yana Smakula and welcome to another Hero Arts video tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily create a card that holds a gift card using supplies you already have on hand. So here's the look at the card we will be making. The gift card hides inside the opening behind the front panel, and because of some easy to make stoppers, doesn't go wandering all over the place but stays in there nicely. This card design also features a simple ribbon closure to prevent the gift card from escaping the card. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's a panel stamped in black onto white. I actually stamped this a while back at a crafty retreat, and I haven't figured out how to incorporate it into a card. So I will be using this panel as a template, and I'll stamp an identical design onto this light blue cardstock panel. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I said I will be stamping. This is not very accurate. I will be doing heat embossing using 3 colors of embossing powder, and I will be overlapping my images. I don't do this very often. In fact, I rarely overlap heat embossed images as the top image, the top layer, tends to lose detail. But I'm going to do this here. So I've treated my panel with an anti-static powder tool, and I will be doing this in between every heat embossing session. And I'm now stamping several images that I will be heat embossing in satin pearl white embossing powder. So I'm stamping all images that will be heat embossed using this one color of powder from Hero Arts. Now the satin pearl white color is quite unique. It's not really white, it's not really clear, but something beautiful in between. I've preheated my heat tool and going to melt the powder on my panel and check out how beautiful this looks. You have that fine pearlescent shimmer to your heat embossed images. I think it is stunning. It's very beautiful. Next, I'm going to grab the second batch of images and will again stamp those onto my panel. Notice how I'm treating my panel with an anti-static powder tool again to make sure my heat embossing stays nice and clean. The images that I'm using today come from several different stamp sets. Most of them are from the Vintage Christmas Post stamp set. I'm also using one image, a postmark, from the Vintage Christmas Wishes set. And the sentiment for this card will come from yet another stamp set, the Holiday Messages and Tags. Don't feel like you have to use these specific sets to create this type of card, the gift card holder. The technique I'll show you works with other stamps and coordinating dies. And if you feel confused right now as to why I mentioned coordinating dies, no worries, I will get to that part in just a second. So I stamped second layer images overlapping the first heat embossed layer using Versamark ink. This is clear sticky ink that is perfect for heat embossing. This time I'm going to add white embossing powder and will once again preheat my heat tool and will go ahead and melt the powder. The top layer images lose their detail a little bit in the sections where the two layers overlap. In other words, if you'd like some images to maintain the highest level of detail possible, like the postmark at the top, make sure it doesn't overlap with another layer of embossing powder. So here's a look at this heat embossed panel. I think it looks very beautiful. It reminds me of a frosty winter morning, and especially that white heat embossing. I think it looks like snow on the windows. I'm going to work on my sentiment next. I've pulled a frame stamp and a sentiment stamp from the Holiday Messages and Tags stamp set, and I'm going to heat emboss both of these in brass embossing powder onto a piece of white paper. So I'm first stamping the frame and later adding the sentiment inside the frame, making sure it is perfectly centered. I'm going to add that brass embossing powder and we'll go ahead and heat set it. Now, this frame stamp set has coordinating dies available, and the negatives from these dies remind me of beautiful, fancy openings you'd find in old vintage furniture. So after I die cut the sentiment frame, I used the same die once again and die cut a fancy opening on the right-hand side of my heat embossed panel. Here I'm using my grid pad and aligning the die. I'm making sure it is centered, and going to go ahead and die cut it in my die cutting machine. So I'm creating partial negative die cut space using this frame die. You don't necessarily need to have specialty dies to create openings for fingers to pull something out of your paper projects. you can use dies you already have. And you can use basic shape dies like circles or ovals or even the top part of a tag too, not just these dies. To finish this card, I'm going to trim this panel to 4 by 5¼ inches and I'm going to position it over an A2 top folding card base. The reason I'm doing this is so that I can insert the gift card and measure where the gift card is going to sit on my card. I'm using a pencil and going to quickly outline this area. I need to do this so that I know where not to add foam adhesive so that it doesn't prevent my gift card from sliding in and out of the card. Here I have some fun foam that I've added double-sided tape to, and I'm going to cut it into strips and we'll build a wall, so to speak, around my outline area. This way, I'll be able to pop my card front panel up and will still have room on my card to hide the gift card. Before I adhere my top panel, I want to add some light ink blending to my panel just to intensify the colors in a few sections. I'm using Hero Arts Tight Pull ink and blending it lightly in the sections where I have my heat embossing. Now I can go ahead and adhere the panel onto my card. Now one last step, I need to add a sentiment, but I need to make sure to leave some room for the twine that will hold the gift card in place. I'm going to add foam adhesive squares to the back of my die kit frame or tag, and I'm making sure not to add any in the middle where my twine is going to be. I'm going to place the twine in the middle and we'll go ahead and adhere the sentiment onto my card, making sure it is centered. I'm going to wrap the twine around the front of my card. My card base is top folding, so this is easy to do. And we'll go ahead and tie it into a bow. To embellish this card, I'm going to add a few gold gems from Hero Arts and I'm going to adhere them here and there around my sentiment, creating a visual triangle. Lastly, I'm going to add a few white dots using a white gel pen. So here's a look at the finished card and also the same card design but without the gift card. I love that the gift card is prominently visible on my project, but also that the card still looks great even when the gift card has been taken out. Remember, you can use this idea and technique for other projects, not just holiday cards. Simply change the background and a sentiment and you have a fun, everyday gift card holder. If you have any questions about this project, please leave them in the comments section on YouTube or on Hero Arts blog. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!